Hey guys, in this video I'm going to analyze whether renting or buying a car is better for your rideshare driving. If you thought this video was helpful, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to assume that you're planning on being a full-time driver, as renting a car as a part-time driver just wouldn't make sense unless you just want to try it out. So as you can see, here's my should you buy or rent a car for rideshare little sheet. I'm going to go through the whole thing with you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the rental car portion. And so you can either, what I was looking at is you can get a car through Hertz, which is pretty much the standard. You can do that through Lyft Express Drive, or Uber has their own Hertz Rental program. Lyft also does Flex Drive, but I'm going to focus on Hertz because that's all the stuff I see is mostly for Hertz. So look on the right side of this picture. For Hertz, it's a weekly rental, meaning you get it for a 7-day period. If you do it for 5, doesn't matter, you still got to pay the whole 7 days. So obviously you want to use it for the entire 7 days if you're going to rent it. It automatically renews by week if you don't do anything. And every 28 days, so once a month, you have to go in to Hertz and renew your rental. And the reason why they do that is so they can check the car for maintenance and repairs and things like that. You can also drive the car around for your personal use as well if you're renting through this program. So that's kind of a nice perk. So when I looked at my Lyft app, it costs $200 per week, and that's for the cheapest car, which is really all you need. It's going to be probably a mid-size car, smaller car, which is fine. You can drive people around in that. I just did an estimate of 10% of tax, so that's $21. $205 for the actual rental, and then $21 for tax, which is a little bit high, but it's just an estimate. And then I have a minus $155 for a bonus. And that bonus credit, if you look, you can see $155, you have to give 105 rides a week, and you have to do 40 rides during peak hours, which is totally attainable if you're doing this full time. So that's basically breaks down to 21 rides a day. And if you have 40 rides during peak hours, if you divide that by 5, that's 8 peak rides per day. Now, there's 6 peak hours per day, basically 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon for commuters. So if you divide that out, that's 1.3 rides per hour during peak hours, which is totally attainable too. So this is like the middle bonus, and I think that's really easy to get if you drive full time. And that's pretty much it. So when you break that down, it comes out to be $71 a week. And we're gonna, obviously when you have your own car, you don't do stuff by week, you do it by month. So if you times $71 times 4 weeks, that turns out to be $282 a month if you were to rent through Hertz. Now, there's also a $250 refundable deposit you have to keep in mind too. So you got to have a little bit of cash, out there to put this deposit down. Now, besides that, that's basically it. You don't need to worry about insurance, no maintenance, no repairs, none of that stuff. Hertz takes care of all of that. All you need to do is go in, drop the car off, and get the car during their normal business hours. Now, one thing I do want to mention is there's probably going to be a waiting list to try to get a rental car since these are so popular, and it's just convenient for people to do. So keep that in mind if you're going to try and do the rental car. So also keep in mind if you're going to rent your car through Lyft's Express Drive program, you are eligible for the Express bonus, which is $155 you see on the screen, but you aren't eligible for power bonuses and Express pay bonuses, which are basically getting paid out right away. So just keep that in mind if you're going to look to go towards this route. Now, as you can see on the buy your own car side, I picked out a 2015 Toyota Prius, and at the price I was looking at, $15,200, as you can see in the picture, that's a pretty average price for that model year. I looked at a whole bunch of them, and that's kind of what I was seeing, so I picked out an average price. So the total cost is going to be $155 a month for the Prius, and so the way I came up with that is if you look in the middle, the Prius is $15,200 plus tax was 10%. Tax, I did 10% is kind of just an average tax rate. It's probably a little bit inflated. So that's $1,520. So your total is $16,720 for the car with tax. So that's how I came up with $155 a month. Now, obviously, not everybody can afford to just pay that out like that, like $16,000 in cash. So you're probably going to need to get a loan. So when you also calculate the loan interest, that's going to be another $23. So see in this other picture, you can see that at a 3.11% loan, your total per month is going to be $178. So $178 minus $155, that's how I came up with the $23. Now, the reason why I picked a 2015 model is because it's 3 years old, which is not too old, but is also not too new. So that way you can kind of find that right range for the price and the mileage. So this particular one I'm looking at only had 42,000 miles on it, which is really good. And then another reason is you can amortize this particular year model over 9 years. And so that's going to be 12 years once you finally pay off the car. And now the reason why I picked that is because 12 years is still within a couple of years of Ubers and Lyft's like oldest model you can have. And you see Uber is 15 years, and I think Lyft is right around the same time frame. And so that way you've got like 3 years to get really good ROI on the car where you aren't paying any amortization fee or anything like that. So you're saving a butt ton of money a month, and it's going to be a lot cheaper than paying your rent every month. So that's how I came up with the actual pricing. Of course, in addition to your actual car and your loan, you're going to have insurance. And so the normal insurance is $80 on this car. And so if you can see in the quote, it's just all my normal stats. I have a clean record with my age and all that stuff. It came out to be $80. Now, you can't even, I did it on Progressive because I think Flow is cool. And so any insurance company is going to give you a competitive rate. And so when I tried doing the rideshare, it asked if you want to do rideshare, and I tried doing that, and it said to call them. So basically how I came up with the insurance rideshare portion of $80 is on my actual insurance. It basically doubled my insurance to be able to drive for Lyft and Uber. So that's how I came up with the extra $80 to do the rideshare. So that's how you got the 80 and the 80. So then you've got registration, which is $23. And the way I came up with that is if you go on the DMV for California, you put in $15,200 as your buy price for the car. It comes out to be $273 a year. So divide that by 12, you get $23. Oil change, you're probably going to be doing once a month. If you're doing this full time, you're going to be putting a lot of miles in the car. So that's like $30. And brake pads, $17 a month. So if you look down at the bottom, brake pads, you probably do it once a year. It depends how you drive, but 60,000 miles is a pretty good estimate. So that's like a $200 charge. So you divide that by 12, you get the $17. Tires, $21. Again, if you look at the bottom, you probably need to buy new tires maybe once a year if you're putting about 60,000 miles on those tires. So that install from a shop would be like $250. And divide that by 12, you get $21. Air filters, a whole $3. And that comes from down at the bottom. You should be changing your air filter every 30,000 miles. So if you're putting 60,000 miles a year on the car, that's going to be double. So 15 times 2 is 30. Divide by 12, that's how you get a whole $3. And then a 30,000 tune-up, $33. And so you look at the bottom, 30,000 tune-up, you're going to be doing probably twice a year if you're putting 60,000 miles in the car. And so that's where the 400 comes in, which is going to be 200 times 2. And normally major tunes, 30K major tunes are a little bit more expensive than that. But I put it at 200 because there's some of the stuff in the top, like your air filters, your tire rotations, your oil changes, you're already doing. So if I put it in the bottom with 30K tune, you're kind of double dipping. So that's how I came up with the $200 times 2, which is 400, and then divide that by 12. So that's how you get $33. Tire rotation, you're probably going to be doing like once a month if you're driving that many miles. So that's like $20, is pretty cheap. And now the big portion that's really important is this gas credit. So if you were to think about it as you're renting a car from Hertz, if you use that same car, then gas is going to be a wash. You're going to pay the same amount of gas. But since you have a Prius and you have a hybrid, the hybrid is actually cheaper in gas. Everyone knows that. So if you look at the bottom, 51 miles a gallon for this particular year model's Prius times any mid-sized car. The one I looked at on Hertz said 33 miles a gallon. So if you take that difference, 33 divided by 51, that's 65%, which means you're saving 35% in gas. So you go back up to the top. I figure you spend probably $30 a day on gas. You probably fill up once a day if you're driving around full time. And at 20 days, so that's 5 days a week times 4 weeks in a month, that's 20. So 30 times 20 is $600 times 35% that you're saving. You're actually saving $210 a month on gas by having a hybrid. So you include that in the calculation, and your total that you get is $274. So that's actually cheaper to buy a car rather than rent a car. And you get to own the car. You have an asset under your name. And at some point, in this case, in this scenario, 9 years, you won't even have to pay for the amortization every month. It's going to be not there. It's going to be free. So it's going to be a lot cheaper to own a car rather than rent a car forever and pay $205 every 7 days. So a couple other things I wanted to mention was that I know most people aren't car guys like me, so all the installs, like the brake pads, the tires, and things like that, are including labor. So if you're going to take it to a shop, like for me, I would do all that stuff myself, so it'd be even cheaper for me. I didn't include things that were maintenance. I didn't include maintenance things that were over 1 year interval. So that would be like a battery. You change that like every 4 years or even longer, depending on how good quality the battery is. Or like light bulbs or tail light bulbs. Things like that are not even material and they don't die very often. So no worries on that. And I didn't include the timing belt because that's over a year also to change that. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Other things I didn't include are windshield wipers. That's like once a year, but that's like $15. So that's like a whole $1 a month. So it's not material. Now, back to the timing belt. Lucky for you, the Prius actually has a timing chain. And that means that you don't even have to do that install. The timing belt install is like $1,000 from a shop. So that's one install that you don't even have to do. If you were to do that, what I figured just in my head and did some quick calculations would be every 2 years, based on how many miles you're putting on the car, like 60,000 miles a year. And that would be like another $40 a month if you were to spread that over 2 years. So that's kind of a big impact. But lucky for you, if you get a Prius, you don't have to worry about that because there's a timing chain. So my final analysis is, as you can see by the numbers, it's cheaper to actually buy your own car. And after you pass the 9 year mark, it'll be even cheaper because you won't have to factor in that monthly amortization rate because you own the car. So now you can get even more ROI out of the car. And you don't have to worry about running back and forth from the rental office. So I hope this video helped you decide what works best for you. Let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.